So now we're back to Bryce, and the first stop that we plan, as typical when we visit the national parks, is the visitor center. So this is fairly quick stop after you get through the main gates. So we just went in. I think we did our browsing around.
Right.
So we talked to one of the rangers, got briefed on what we needed to know about, and then headed out to the Bryce Amphitheater.
So we had to get back in the truck and then head off towards the area that was pointed out by the park ranger.
And it turns out Bryce has 8 marked and maintained hiking trails that you can hike in less than a day. And a number of these trails intersect each other, so that gives you an option as a hiker to kind of craft a path that's going to match the length and time and difficulty that matches your own situation. So, you know, we recommend if you're going to go to Bryce, do take time if you are able to hike through some of the amphitheater, because it is spectacular. And one of the things that you can do is you can admire the beauty of this landscape from up above, you know, get out of your car and look at things. But once you go into it, which you can't do unless you actually, you know, walk down, it's just a whole nother experience.
Yeah, the experience of walking through these formations too is quite grandiose. And it's pretty amazing. We did hike another trail, and it was one that had many more numbers of people. It had a trail that went down into this canyon.
A lot of switchbacks.
And it went down fast. So it was switching back and forth, and there was quite a lot of people on it. So it was a popular place for people to hike.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would go down into that very popular section, take a look, and then come back up. We took the whole trail, which is called the Navajo Loop,
which also goes through an area called Wall Street. So I think this is probably the most popular section of the park.
Yes. We had driven through on our first hike that day before, and we did see this, and I believe we stopped and we took a look and we're like, hey, we should do this. So I think that's was our motivation to come back and to take this hike. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, we did that on another day.
Right. You can't do Fairy Tale and Navajo on the same day. That would be quite hard. I guess some could, but you have to be really young. We started with Navajo Loop, and then we transitioned into the Wall Street section. There was a lot of walking, mainly after you got through those switchbacks. It was mainly pretty straight, pretty moderate hiking. I don't think it was hard at all.
What I observed, though, was I'm going to say like 80 to 90% of the people that would start this walk down the switchbacks would walk all the way until the point that it bottoms out and then would go back.
Well, I think that's the popularity of it, because there's these canyons, and you're in this trail goes right through these canyons. You've got these massive wall structures, and you're walking through. There's these trees that probably have been there for a very, very long time. It just was beautiful. It looked really cool. And I think that's what people are wanting to see when they go down that trail. And then they turn around and they come back. It's pretty amazing. Right here.
Interesting place for a tree.
In the middle of all this, there's several large trees growing right up through the rock.
So we've hiked to the bottom of the Navajo Loop, and it looks like most people, once they get to the kind of the bottom of the cave area, turn around and go back up. But when you get down to this area, it just keeps on going, and some beautiful scenery.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people just stopped and they're not going forward.
And they missed this. If you plan to hike the Navajo Trail, and if you just take the switchbacks, go to the bottom and turn around, you're going to immediately go from this descent, and now you're going to have to put all your energy back into the uphill, versus what we did is we just kept on going.
Yeah.
And after you get to this part where it bottoms out, you've got a fairly nice length of flat level hike through very different scenery. So you've gone through the Hoodoos and all that, looks beautiful,
Yeah.
the canyons, and then you're in this almost kind of foresty looking area.
There's a lot of trees in it. It's not the Hoodoos. It's that's why they call it Wall Street, because you've got this just wall of sediment and rock, and they have not yet turned into Hoodoos through weather and whatever it takes for them to do that. So you've just got this very colorful, beautiful wall of stone, and it's gorgeous.
And if you do continue with the trail down below, that's going to give your legs a chance to relax a bit before you take the elevation back up where the trail, it ultimately loops around at a different section. So we would recommend do the entire loop. It's not that long, and you're going to see some spectacular scenery that, again, based on our trip, for whatever reason, most people chose not to do the entire loop. We're now starting the ascent to 2 bridges.
We are taking the Navajo Loop Trail. We're on the 2 Bridges trail, and if you look up between the pillars, there's 2 bridges that come across the stone, natural bridges.
And at this part of the hike, there's a do not enter sign, so they want to keep these bridges untouched by people, so we're going to stop right here and just take a look. So a real nice place to visit, to take some photos. It's nice and shady in there. And then you'll start to make the ascent back up. We're almost back to the top. The scenery here is majestic and breathtaking. I think the hike up, I don't know, I think so far not as bad as I thought it might be, but I know, a little more to go. I think a couple of tips: make sure you've got water, a good pair of shoes, probably a hiking shoe better. Then Julie, show us, what do you got there? Sneakers, hiking boots, not sneakers. And not that I did this and had an accident, but oh my gosh, and I'm doing it now. Don't film and walk at the same time, because these paths are narrow in some places and there's no railing. And one of the super iconic hoodoo features that you're going to see at a very nice distance is a thing called Thors hammer. Yeah. I think there was a opportunity to see Thors hammer before you even started the descent. There was kids that were pointing it out. But on the other side of that hike, when you're coming up on the other side of it, it is very prevalent. I mean, it's just, you can actually visualize this mythic god holding this hammer. And yeah, you're much closer to it, and it's quite a sight to behold. So 2 great hikes. We'd recommend doing both of them, and there's probably other great hikes to do, but at least with these 2, Fairyland was a longer hike. That's a good full day event. And this other one, I think we probably knocked it out in no more than 2 hours, would you say? 2 to 3. Yeah. I mean, we stop and look and take our time to take our video and our pictures, and so it was a very relaxing hike. Yeah. The uphill descent on the way back on the loop was a little tiring. We trudged through. I mean, you really got to take a look at those switchbacks and go, okay, I can do this. Thanks for watching this video. We hope you've seen some things that'll help you plan your future travel adventures. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and like us. And if you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you. And until next time, keep on traveling, and we hope to see you at the places where we go.